EGM Network.
Hey, welcome to Wherever with Lu Navarro. Have you ever wondered how to protect your assets, your investments, your real estate, all that you have worked for? Well, today episode, we're speaking with a real estate planning and elder law attorney who will share invaluable information and advice on how to safeguard our assets, protect your loved ones, and secure your legacy. I'm your host, Lu Navarro. I'm a realtor with Remax Realty, and you can connect with me on my social media. You can find me as Lu Navarro, the realtor. I would like to know that you're listening, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Today's show or podcast is about protecting your legacy. So joining us today is Jordan Lulich from Lulich and Attorneys. They are expert in estate planning and elder law, as well as real estate law, with many years' experience helping families protect their futures and guiding them in the transactional process of selling and buying real estate. Welcome, Jordan.
Thanks so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here.
No, thank you so much for coming over and making the time to come over my podcast. So could you briefly tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Jordan Lulich with Lulich and Attorneys. I've been practicing law for 6 going on 7 years. And I had the awesome opportunity to work with my dad, who was also an attorney. So as a little kid, I was around the dinner table, and my dad was always sharing stories and just challenging me in different arguments and helping me be able to critically think from such a small age. So I had that exposure to the law, to like thinking like an attorney, to different cases. Obviously, there was still confidentiality. And so it was just a natural path for me, looking at my dad as a role model to go to law school and to become an attorney. And I was finishing up my last year in law school, and I had a couple different job opportunities. And my dad, he talked me into coming and working for him. And it was the best decision that I ever made.
That's awesome.
The trust was there, the mentorship was there, the guidance was there. And he was a solo practitioner in the area since 1987. He was practicing in Sebastian since then.
So you are local.
I'm local, Sebastian and Vero Beach.
That's awesome.
So I was able to work with him for 5 years. He passed, unfortunately, last year, but his legacy continues to live on, and we continue to serve the people of Indian River County. And we also do stuff outside the county, but we are based and we're headquartered in Sebastian and Vero Beach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So support local businesses.
That's right. Our practice areas, we do estate planning, Lou. We do real estate, and we also do personal injury.
Oh.
So we've got 6 attorneys.
Awesome. And
we have attorneys that concentrate in each area. There's like a wave of the future. Like, for instance, Lou, if you had some type of heart problem, right, you're not going to go do a dermatologist, right? You're going to go to a cardiologist, someone who's experienced in hearts.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing applies for our team, right?
Yeah.
If someone who has a real estate matter, they need to find an expert in real estate or estate planning or personal injury. And so we've got a team of attorneys who concentrate just on those practice areas so we can provide that next level service for our clients who call us.
All right. So for those who might not be familiar, can you give us a quick overview of why estate planning is so important?
A lot of people, so estate planning, I think, is the area that's so overlooked by people. 70% of people don't have a will.
I think that they are scared.
They're scared. Well,
they don't want to face that.
But they're rightfully scared too.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I had 2 grandmas. They've both since passed, but I had an Italian grandma and then I had a German grandma.
Oh.
And my Italian grandma, she wasn't scared to have these conversations. And in her 70s, she sat down, she did her estate plan, and she faced a fear that a lot of people have of talking about death.
Okay.
And what she wanted was to stay in her home. She wanted to be able to have a nurse that come to her house. She didn't want to go into an assisted living center. And she talked and she expressed her wishes to us. And it made things so much easier for us as a family because we didn't guess what she wanted. We were able to execute what her wishes are.
Her wishes.
I didn't have that opportunity with my grandma from Germany. She didn't like to talk about that.
No, I'm telling you, especially, I'm pretty sure I'm Latina, and I'm pretty sure Latins don't like to speak about that. They're afraid that, they're going to like bring it on,
Right.
So, but it's really something that you have to be mature enough that is something that is not only for you, it's for your legacies, for your loved ones. So
yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. People fear most in life is public speaking. That's the number one fear. So props to us, right? We're doing a good job. And then the second most fear is death.
Yeah.
And so with my German grandma, she didn't want to talk about it. And what that left us, Lou, is we had to guess what she wanted. And that's very unsettling. So the reason why people should do their estate plan is, your families don't have to guess what you wanted. Did you want to go into an assisted living center? Did you want the plug to be pulled? Did what were your last wishes? What did you want for a funeral ceremony?
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is it's not about the stuff. It's not about the money. No. It's about keeping the family together.
And that's, I was going to mention that because not doing that sometimes pull everybody apart.
Yeah.
Because, they may not be in agreement with you are deciding for the one that just is not there anymore. So
exactly.
Yeah. So now going back into estate planning, one of the most, I think, because there is no estate planning process that people go through is probate.
Right.
Can you explain, like, if we were 5 years old, what is a probate, and why many people don't realize how frustrating and costly probate can be?
Yeah. So probate is the process of transferring someone's stuff who passes away to their loved ones. Mm-hmm. Right. And so in a nutshell, it's that transfer. Now, in order to do a probate, you have to go through court. Mm-hmm. You have to hire an attorney. It takes 9 months to a year. The average probate will cost, AARP says 3 to 6% of the assets, right? So we're talking about a lot of money. We're talking about a long time. We're talking about involving the government. It's not that I'm not. There's a place for people to go through probate. I'm not knocking probate all the way because sometimes it's the best option, but sometimes we can avoid that option, and sometimes we can make it a much quicker process, a much cheaper process, and we can leave the government out of it.
Yeah. So can you explain why avoiding may be beneficial?
Why avoiding? Yeah, I think I just hit on it. So, so let's say someone passes away, right? And they have a will. And I think the biggest misconception that people have.
My next question, next thing was, people think that will fix everything and will prevent probate and many other stuff.
The biggest misconception people have is, I have a will, I'm good, I don't have to go through probate.
But it's funny because you watch a TV show, right? Somebody passed. What's the first thing that comes after? A lawyer or attorney gathering all the family to execute the will, and they think that that's it.
Yeah.
But it's not that, right?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, because in reality, like, there's this ceremonial process in TV and the movies where, they're in a living room, the fireplace is going on, they're reading the will, all the kids are there, and the dogs and everything. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, but that's why it's good to have these shows, because people think that will solve it.
No, that does not happen. So the biggest misconception people have is that a will avoid probate. A will is instructions on how to probate your stuff.
Exactly.
A will means you're going to court. A will means you're going to be paying attorney's fees. A will means that you could take up to a year of having to go through the legal process of transferring your stuff to your loved ones.
Okay.
So a will equals probate, right?
But now
a trust means you can avoid probate.
So will may be a good document if there is a good strategy behind it.
Yes.
Correct.
100%.
So,
and I would lie to say that we always advise to not have a will. we 100% advise some people that a will is the best option.
Okay.
It's very, very fact specific and individual specific. It's not a one size fits all.
All right. And then you just touched on trust, right? So trust can be very valuable part of estate planning, right?
100%.
Can you explain which are the main type of trust and, what objective they achieve?
Yeah. So a trust is an instrument that you can put your assets into. So you can own your bank account, you can own your house, you can own your business, you can own all of your assets in a trust. And the benefit of putting your assets into a trust is you get to avoid probate.
Okay.
You get to decide where your assets go once you pass away. You can you can make quicker that process of that transfer of your assets to your loved ones.
Yeah,
you can reduce the cost.
Because if it goes to probate, then you are actually taking part of that estate to cover for all those costs associated with probate, and not to mention the timing and, again, the family quarrel between, because it's not fast enough or whatever, right?
Right. So a will means you're going to probate. A trust means you can avoid probate. Now, the biggest thing that we see other law firms do is, I can write the most beautiful trust for you, Lou, but unless you put your assets into the trust, which we help with, but not all law firms help with this.
Okay.
It doesn't work. So you actually have to put your home into the trust. You have to put your business into the trust. You have to put your different investment properties into the trust. And if you don't do that, if something doesn't make it into the trust, then you're not avoiding probate. You're still going through probate.
So let's say that I have 5 houses and one of them I forgot to put in the trust. Everything will go to probate again?
No, just the one house that you didn't make it into the trust. Right? So we still do a will when we do a trust. And it's like I like to think of it like a safety net, right? It's that just to make sure everything.
It's just the instructions, basically.
Yes.
All right. Yes. So what is the difference between a living will and a will?
Okay. A will. So you asked me before about trust too. Okay, yeah. So we could take it through, everything. So when you're alive and well, right? And what the law says is we have different laws that govern when we're alive and well. And so when you're alive and well, who's making decisions for yourself?
I am.
Yeah, you are. You're making those decisions for you. But the problem becomes, what happens when you're alive but you're not so well?
So
who then makes those decisions for you?
Yeah.
So that depends, right? That depends. Do you have a power of attorney?
And that was my next question. So
if you have a power of attorney when you're alive but you're not so well, your power of attorney can make legal and or financial decisions on your behalf.
Okay.
We call this a durable power of attorney.
Okay.
Right? Now, if you have a healthcare surrogate or a healthcare agent, then your healthcare agent can make healthcare decisions for you.
Okay.
But a power of attorney and a healthcare agent, those are only able to make decisions when you're alive, right? You're still alive and well.
Okay.
A living will, we like to think of it as the pull the plug document.
Okay.
A living will says what happens, what you want to do in the event that you're facing an end of life condition. Do you want to go on life supporting equipment?
Oh.
Or do you want to give instructions to your healthcare agent to pull that plug and to end your life? So you're expressing your wishes, right? Okay. You're not leaving it up to your representative to decide. You're saying, this is what I want if I'm in this position.
Okay, understood.
So in a nutshell, that's your living will, that's your healthcare surrogate, and that's your power of attorney. Now, when you pass away, we have different rules.
All right. Let's take a break and come back to that, okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal Coastal Living, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Bollywood. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a huge fall sale with lots of great markdowns and discounts on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of brand name closeout and sale items. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine.
And we're back. So coming back with Jordan Lulich from Lulich and Attorneys. And we're going to go back and touch base again on trust. So,
Yeah.
Jordan, explain about trust and how they are beneficial to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about when you're alive and the different legal tools and options that are available when you're alive. But when you pass away, that's where trust and wills come into place. So we talked a little bit about before. A will is essentially you're expressing your wishes and you're telling the court how to probate your stuff. But if you decide that you don't want to go through probate when you pass away and you want a quicker option, a cheaper option, that's where a trust comes in. So we've got two different types of trust. We have a revocable trust, which I think a revocable trust is going to be more common for a lot of people. And a revocable trust, whatever you put into your revocable trust during your lifetime, you're the manager of the trust.
Okay.
It's for your benefit. You manage it. And the glorious part about a revocable trust is you can put something into the revocable trust, you can take it out, you can modify it, you could change it. You've got a lot of different options with that revocable trust. And so people like that flexibility.
Of course.
The main benefit of a revocable trust is you get to bypass probate.
Okay.
You get an instant transfer of your assets. You're not instant, but you get a much quicker transfer of your assets when you pass away. Or we can create some different types of rules, because a lot of people think, I don't need estate planning, right? I don't need to go through that. But what happens when you have a child, right?
Yeah.
And let's say your kids or your grandkids, let's say they're in college, right? And let's say your grandkids are qualified for financial aid.
Okay.
Right. And in your will or in your trust, you leave to your grandchild $50,000. Right. And they're in college and you pass away when they're in college. What happens when they inherit that money? Well, if they're on financial aid, they're kicked off of financial aid.
Oh, of course.
People don't even realize that.
Wow.
And another thing is when we can get a little bit more detailed into planning, because we're not drafting documents, Lou. We're creating a plan and we're looking at many different circumstances. A lot of people don't think about, well, what happened to my son or my daughter? They've been bankrupt 3 times, right? Am I going to leave $200,000 to them?
Yes. So
I mean, that's where it takes planning. And so we can create a plan and we can create protective measures depending upon your kids or your grandkids, so they don't blow the $200,000.
How to distribute in certain times, right?
Exactly. So we can set up, maybe you want to distribute when someone turns 55, or maybe you only want to distribute $5,000 a month, or maybe you just want to distribute the interest that your money generates. And so there's a lot of different options. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest harm with estate planning is these newer companies online.
Yes.
You can go online.
Yes.
It's $5.95 or $6.95, but they're not learning about your kids. They're not learning about your grandkids. They don't know if your grandchild's going to go qualify for financial aid. They're not taking these items into consideration.
Yeah, they're not asking the questions. They are just filled this form, basically.
Right.
Why they call it cafeteria service, right? They do. Cafeteria
service. Next.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I've said multiple times on this show that it's not a one size fits all. Everything is so unique. And I think it's very harmful that these companies do this, because we take it from, like you, Lou, in business, we take a community and a relationship-based approach because we want to have a relationship.
Exactly.
And even after, if you come as a client to us, we follow up with you after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years.
Yeah, it's a relationship.
Because once your life changes, you need to update your plan. And a lot of people don't realize that. They say, well, I have a will, I have a trust. Do I need to update it? And my answer is, if you have a major life change, you definitely need to. But so, what do you think a major life change is?
Well, you have a new grandkid.
Yep, that's
or,
right.
Somebody unfortunately passed.
Right, right. Or
Many
divorce.
changes. Divorce.
Or you move to a new state. Exactly.
Yeah, so there are many. So now, you touch a little bit about, when people health care, right?
Yeah.
And so I understand that also estate planning will be helpful to, to not deplete the access directly with the cost of the long-term care, right?
Right.
So how really that helps?
So there's an option, and again, it depends upon each person's scenario, but there's an option that's called Medicaid planning. And essentially, what you can do is, if you plan out in advance, you can try to qualify when you need to go into a nursing home. You can set up your plan where you can qualify for Medicaid if you meet certain requirements, and Medicaid can pay for the cost of the nursing home. Medicaid can pay for someone to come to your up to a certain amount for someone to come.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of people don't even realize that it's available.
A lot of people don't realize. So it's definitely an option, but you have to pre-plan this.
Yes.
Right. And this is where I don't want to go too in depth, but this is where an irrevocable trust comes in.
Okay.
Right. So there's some planning you can do in order to set up yourself where you can qualify for Medicaid, but you've got to be doing this at least 5 years in advance.
Okay.
So this is not something, you get sick or you get injured
and
when they go qualify for Medicaid. You can't give away your stuff.
Yeah.
The biggest mistake I see people make is they'll let me add my daughter, let me add my son onto the deed of my house.
Yeah.
Huge mistake. To try to qualify for Medicaid, it's a mistake. It's a tax mistake, right?
Yeah.
You add your son or daughter onto your home, you just created a huge tax implication for them. So it's before you make any big decision like that, the best thing is to talk with someone who's experienced and who comes, highly referred to you and who has a good reputation, to sit down and think about all the different angles.
And that's why those tools are good for, like, the trust to reduce state taxes, right?
Right.
All right.
We do an estate planning seminar. We do 2 a month. And I'm going to extend an invite to anybody listening today if they want to come to our estate planning seminar. We do one in Sebastian, we do one in Vero Beach, and we really dive a lot more in depth, Lou, because it's hard. I mean, we're touching on the surface on a lot of these different topics, but we spend an hour and we've got free food on top of it. I sold you free food, right?
Yeah. So before we go, I just want to let you guys know that Jordan also specializes in real estate law, and he and the firm can help you guys with any buying or selling process time. All right. I'm sorry, transactionals. And we're going to have another podcast to, go on into it in more detail. Is there one key takeaway that you could give listeners to remember from today's show?
It's not too early to do an estate plan. And I think once you have a family, it's time to start estate planning, whether you're 25, 30, 35, 40. The biggest thing is, if you pass away, Lou, and your kids are under 18, who's going to take care of your kids?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for these valuable insights. Where can our listeners contact you? Do you have a phone number they can reach out? Yeah, reach out to us, 772-589-5500. You can go on our website, www.lulich.com. Is there?
And our email, you can schedule a consultation, view our different practice areas. Read different about reviews that people have left for us, and just learn more about all these different topics. We got a lot of different blog articles on there as well. Awesome. I hope you like the information shared today on this episode. At the end of the day, you want to be prepared to protect your assets, your loved ones, and everything that you have really worked for. So I really believe that you need to seek the help and assistance of a real estate attorney when doing estate planning, because, that way you can avoid any pitfalls.
Thank you again for listening to today's podcast, Protecting Your Legacy. And remember, if you enjoyed this show, please subscribe and leave me a review. I want to know from you. Stay connected on my social media. I always do updates and new content. I'll catch you next time with Wherever with Lu Navarro. And recuerda, yo hablo tu idioma. Y Jordan también.
Sí.
Chao, chao.
Adiós.